Sportsman. Yeah. You in the mix, rockin' with Kenny. When it comes to news, man, he got plenty. You in the sports mix with Kenny. News and knowledge. A lot of dope techniques make kids become scholars. You need to tune in. A lot of hot topics. When it comes to sports, Kenny sound like a prophet. You in the mix, man. You in the mix. Plus he keep you up on all the hottest trends. Plus you never know who he has as a guest. So grab a cold one, man, and just tune in. You in the mix, man. You in the mix. You in the mix. Sports mix. You in the mix. Rockin' with Kenny. When it comes to news, man, he got plenty. You in the mix, man. You in the mix. You in the mix. Sports mix. You in the mix. You rockin' with Kenny. When it comes to news, man, he got plenty.
The Sports Mix, baby. What's up, y'all, with Sports Mix? Once again, Tuesday. Everybody in a good mood this week. I think the Ravens must have won a game or something, man. Something is in the air.
What's going on?
Ravens got a dub. You know how that go, man. People be all, I'm sure it was some babies made this weekend. And, the bed was a little colder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That fried chicken season was seasoned a little better.
And it got even better because the Steelers lost.
Steelers lost, and the Bengals, didn't it? Well, they was on the bye.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the Bengals.
I'm sure Cleveland lost.
Right.
Nobody
played the Jets, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so Ravens won. We back in the building Tuesday as we do. Before we get started, I wanted to send some condolences out. NBA lost a legend, Hall of Famer, a 3-time Hall of Famer. How about that? Coach, I know him more as Coach Lenny Wilkens. Passed away recently. Lenny Wilkens is in the Hall of Fame as a player. He's in the Hall of Fame as a coach. And he's also in the Hall of Fame as part of the original Dream Team. So, he's a three-time Hall of Famer. I think he may be the only person with that honor. But Lenny Wilkens passed away. I saw some highlights of him as a player recently. Pretty impressed, because I've never seen him as a player. I've always known him as Coach Wilkens, and he at one time was the winningest coach in the NBA. He had surpassed, I believe, Red Auerbach at that time to be the number one, the winningest coach in the NBA. I'm sure by now that number has been surpassed, but he was that at once upon a time. So. Lenny Wilkens, I remember him as the Sonics coach, Cleveland Cavaliers coach. Who else has he coached? Who else did Lenny coach, man?
I don't know if he coached Atlanta or not.
Yeah, Atlanta Hawks. He sure did. He sure did. Atlanta Hawks. Yeah. But Lenny Wilkens, man. I mean, I've known him, like I say, more as a coach. Always seemed to be like a mild manner type of dude. You never really seen Lenny too excitable on the sidelines. And very well spoken when he interviewed. He was well respected around the league. Won a championship with the was he the Sonics head coach when they won it? Back in '79,
he might have been.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he was.
He was. Yeah. So he got him a championship as a coach. Yeah. He was a Hall of Fame level player, and he passed away recently. So I just want to dedicate the show to Lenny Wilkens this evening. Rest in peace to Lenny. Just condolences to his family and friends and to the NBA family. Did you have anything on Lenny before we
Yeah,
move on?
well, I did get a chance to see him play.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a guard. Not that tall. Well, back when they was playing, 6'1", one considered real short.
Yeah, yeah.
He's about 6'1". He was a hell of a ball player. He was named to the 50th anniversary team and the 75th anniversary team.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that'll give people a perspective on how well his game was recognized. And like you say, man, coached throughout. Championship coaching. I watched that Seattle series against the Washington franchise. They actually played back to back series, 79 and 78. They went back
Yeah.
to the finals back to back, and yeah, big loss. Lenny Wilkens, man, died. He was 88 years old.
88. That's a long life,
Mm-hmm.
and impactful. So, rest in peace, Lenny Wilkens. And once again, before we move on, so another NBA player, Michael Ray Richardson, passed away. Michael Ray
Wow.
was considered to be on the level of a Magic Johnson talent-wise. He played like in the late 70s, early 80s. Michael Ray ran into some issues with substance abuse during it around in the mid 80s. Subsequently was barred out of the NBA. I know he went overseas and played for a few years. So he continued playing. I think he got beyond his substance abuse issues and was able to kind of, like you say, play overseas, finish it out overseas. I remember him as a player with the Nets. I remember seeing him playing with the Nets. And that's prior to him, right before him really having issues and getting kicked out of the league. I know that he was working as like a consultant and doing some teaching. And he was doing some work with the NBA over the last few years. I remember maybe about a year ago, I saw a special on him, where they were talking about some of the work that he was doing with the NBA in the last few years, So again, man, young man, brother that had some issues with substances, man, and he was able to, get beyond those things and find some purpose in his life. He was able to stay around the game, which, for people that's dealing with substance abuse, to lose your livelihood and then to lose to be away from the passion, the thing that you're most passionate about, could have been even more devastating for him. So I'm just glad that he was able to, kind of figure things out with the substance abuse and get back into where, he was a part of the game that he loved. Clearly a level talent that just, like I say, ran into some issues with the substances and we never really got to see his talent at full blast, but from all accounts, had he been able to, stay straight, he would have been talked about as one of the greats that has ever played this game. And like I said, I saw him play a little bit. I don't think when I started watching, I didn't really see him at his best. He probably was a name that they talked about. But I think, at the time that I started watching basketball and really kind of getting familiar with who he was, he was kind of on the way out the door. So, rest in peace to Michael Ray Richardson, Sugar Ray, as they called him. Condolences to his family, to the NBA family, of course, the organization that he played with. So I just want to do that. And we'd also dedicate the show partly to Michael Ray Richardson as well. So did you have any thoughts on Michael Ray?
You're absolutely right. He was a dynamite talent. The guy was a talented ball player, man. He was a lot of fun to watch too, man. The boy, and he did a lot of his damage, like you mentioned, with the Knicks. He had some good years with the Nets. full-time All-Star. So he made the All-Star team 4 times, so that lets you know his talent level. It was just a lot of fun, man. The way he handled that ball, the way he could pass the ball and score. He was tough. The dude was tough. Yeah, a little shocking hearing that he passed away, and man, these years start getting past you, man. I'm seeing he was 70.
Yeah.
He passed away. So, wow.
Yeah. So, rest in peace, Michael Ray, Sugar Ray. Dedicating the show to Michael Ray and to Lenny Wilkens tonight. 2 NBA legends, passed away recently. So we'll move on. Move on with the flow. Moving on with the flow. So we back in the building. Back in the building this week, man. It's always good to come on here and talk after the Ravens win. I don't have to do a eulogy this week.
Right.
And I don't have to put my counselor hat on and console people. And
not this week.
This week,
This week, yeah.
It was a good week. The defense is playing so much better.
Oh yeah.
And I've been very vocal since the beginning about Zach Orr as the defensive coordinator, and why he still had a job. I was very vocal about that.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna be apologetic just yet. But I'm gonna give him his props. Zach Orr, you got the guy they playing. Some of the young players are starting to really make a name for themselves. Starks, has got picks in the last 2 games. Wiggins in his second year is really making plays out there. So the young defensive backs are playing well. They're getting a little bit more pressure on the quarterbacks. They're not getting the sacks in big numbers, but they are forcing the quarterback into some mistakes. They're getting pressures on the quarterback, and that's something that we talked about ad nauseum in the first couple of weeks. We were kind of beating that point to death. They got to get pressure. They and so we're starting to see those things in the last couple of games. You're starting to see better play from the defense, which again was a very big concern, not just from us, but from everybody. And so you got to give credit where credit is due. I don't know what changes was made up there, what clicked on. I know health and having players available is always a good thing. We know on the offensive side they were missing a lot of key players. Lamar's back, and Lamar's looking like he could be the MVP again. I'm sure he won't be, but he's just that type of player that if he's playing, he's gonna be in the running. He's gonna be in the running for that award every year. He just that dynamic of a player. He just that dynamic of a player, man. And he's able to make plays out there. He's able to do things. And there's a calmness about Lamar. I don't know if you pick up on it, but he just looks real comfortable, on the field, on the offense. Even I noticed in interviews, he's not as amped up as he was once upon a time. He just seems a little more calm. And maybe it's the shiesty mask. Maybe he wearing that shiesty mask, and maybe that's just kind of mellowing him out. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that distraction he need to kind of keep his mind off of stuff. But I like what I'm seeing from number 8, even more so. Just like it's the maturity. He's been in the league now 8 years. Is it 8 years, 9 years? From the adversity from the beginning of his career to MVP, a second MVP, and we know that the elephant in the room is the playoffs, but you got to get through the regular season to get to the playoffs. You got to take care of business. in November and December before we can talk about what he needs to do in the playoffs. So you got to get there. And right now, if you listen to all of the talking heads, the ESPNs of the world and all the national sports people, all the talk is the Ravens are the most scariest team in the league right now. And in the division, Pittsburgh took a loss on Sunday. So they are one game up ahead of the Ravens. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow came back to practice today, I believe. And he will they targeting the Thanksgiving game for him against the Ravens as his comeback game. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know what record-wise where they'll be at that point. But that's what I heard. That's the target date for him to come back. And poor Cleveland. Poor Cleveland. I don't even know what to say about them. I guess they're gonna draft another quarterback next year. I guess I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do over there. They seem like that's what they. Let's just draft quarterbacks every year.
Stockpiling quarterbacks.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts, man? What's your thoughts on this past weekend?
Yeah, like you say, and I think that the Vikings are a quality team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, little surprising to see so many penalties by Minnesota. I know it was ridiculous, man. Penalties. I'm like, what the hell?
Hey man, I thought the hard count was supposed to get the defense off.
Right, 8 jumps,
8 times.
Yeah, ain't that crazy?
8. He had 8 false starts.
I don't know if I've seen that many before.
Nah, I think the commentator said that was a record.
It had to be, man.
8 false starts, and then you at your home field, so it's quiet. The fans are being quiet, so you can hear him the hard count every time.
You can hear him yelling.
You can hear it. And one of his guys is jumping every time. I said, man, I know they are sick.
Yeah.
I know they are sick, man. You can't say it's because of the crowd. No, you can't. It's no excuse.
Right.
There's no excuse for that. No excuse. But shout out to the Ravens defense for being disciplined.
Yeah.
The defensive line.
Especially with the noise.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I can hear Ray Lewis yelling at Terrell Suggs right now. Watch the ball.
Right.
Watch the ball. You remember that?
Yeah.
Suggs jumping off sides, man. He might have been a rookie.
Right.
And Ray Lewis, man, just watch the ball. Just watch the ball. Yeah, just so it's simple as it sounds.
Right.
And when you under that kind of pressure, when the adrenaline is going and you trying to make a play and you're trying to anticipate the snap because you're just trying to be a step quicker than the defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Now offensive linemen know the snap count. They know what the count is. So again, it's no excuse for offensive linemen to have a false start, let alone 8 of them. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I had never quite seen that before. Definitely. That was ridiculous. And the Ravens defensively, man, they forced I think it was 3 turnovers. Starks and Humphrey got picks, and I know that that kickoff returner had some butterfingers for Minnesota. Yeah, he was struggling.
Yeah.
He turned one over. So when your team is playing well defensively, those things happen. You get the turnovers, and I think when we were on that streak of losing, when we were at the 1-5 point, we just weren't getting turnovers.
No, we're getting none.
Yeah, the defense was so porous, weren't forcing turnovers, but now you see the turnovers. You mentioned the sacks, and maybe we weren't actually getting sacks, but we were making the quarterback uncomfortable in that pocket.
Yeah, definitely getting some pressure on him.
Yeah, and that's so important, man. And I was impressed with the guy, like the guy they traded for.
Mm-hmm. He got at the quarterback a little bit.
Yes, he did. Jones. Yeah,
he got at the quarterback.
I like that pickup, man. I think it was a excellent trade for up a 5th-round pick for this guy. I know it's conditional. It may go to a 4, but still, this guy has been on a roll getting sacks. So, shout out to DeCosta and the fellas for, pulling that trade off. I was hoping for it. I was hoping they would get another deal in to maybe bring some offensive line help in.
Yeah.
Because, one of your guys, I think you sent me something on that guy, number 77. Number 77 had troubles, man.
Fillet of fish.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, man. I'm like,
yeah.
And man, I think Falele come up out of the University of Minnesota, if I ain't mistaken.
Well, that was a home game for him.
Say that again?
That was a home game for him this week.
Yeah, that's like a home game, man. He's supposed to be fired up. And but I can't remember where we drafted him, but what round he got drafted in, man. But I question, and he got drafted as what's the outside lineman? They tackled Johnny Stanley. Stanley's a tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got drafted as a tackle. And I mean, the first time I saw him play as a rookie for the Ravens, I mean, it was clear to me that this guy did not have the footwork to play tackle.
Right.
This guy can't play tackle. He ain't quick enough. He can't move them feet. I mean, he big, but being big ain't gonna do it alone. You got to be able to handle those edge rushes. And it was clear to me. I said the only place for this dude, he can play in the guard position on the inside of the line, and eventually they wind up moving him to the inside. But now we're seeing he still struggles there too. He has struggles, and hopefully the guy from LSU, I think he's getting close to being ready. 3rd round draft pick out of LSU. His name escaped me. But maybe he can be up to speed, and so we'll see what they do. But it's been a lot of complaints about Mr. Falele.
Yep. Shout out to Brittany Kerbler, watching on YouTube, said that the defense needs to be faster.
Yeah.
And the defense is coming around. Thanks for tuning in too, Brittany. Appreciate you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button over there on YouTube. Thank you.
That's a good point, though. Because I think they have been playing faster lately. And moving up to them playoffs, they're going to have to play even more fast. And I think you kind of alluded to it earlier that some of those young guys, man, are really playing better. And you can see, speaking of Brittany's comments, you can see that Starks is playing faster, Buchanan and Green.
Yeah, absolutely. Green looked like the stud out there.
Stud, man.
Them guys are plays. And again, because we were kind of hard on DeCosta.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago. With some of these draft picks, because the production wasn't there.
They ain't look that good.
Yeah, the production wasn't there, and now, guys are starting to step it up. And again, sometimes it's just this repetition. Thanks for the subscription too, Brittany. Yeah. Appreciate that. Oh, Brittany says Brittany's a football player. Okay. All right. Where you playing at, Brittany? Give a shout. Let us know where you playing at. You playing flag football, and what you got going. I know they got tackle football too.
Right.
Where you playing at, Brittany? Thanks for tuning in and subscribing. Appreciate that. But yeah, the young guys are starting to play.
Can't wait to see the WNFL. You think that's gonna ever happen?
Wait a minute. So in the 4th grade.
Okay.
So got young listeners or young subscribers.
Okay.
Play for Festus.
Oh, Brittany must.
Chiefs are the best.
Okay.
Slow down. Slow down.
Brittany.
Yeah, well, the Chiefs are the team, one of the teams that we got to get past in Baltimore. If the Ravens want to get to the next level, Kansas City is one of the teams.
You got to go through
that
Patrick.
we got to get through. You know,
Gotta go through Patrick.
yeah. So yeah, but yeah. Thanks for tuning in. You know, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. You know, thanks for the subscription. You know, so we just talk every Tuesday. You know, we talk Ravens football. We talk other sports as well. But you know, whenever you get a win, because there's always something to shoot for. You know, each week, and you know, we've been talking about the kicking game as well. And I believe Luke missed one this week.
Yeah.
At distance. But this guy is eligible to come back. His 10-game suspension is completed, and he's eligible to get picked up by a team this year. You know, and I'm sure that some team is going to take a flyer, if you can even call it a flyer,
Yeah.
on a sure bet Hall of Fame kicker. You know, what's your thoughts on Tucker?
Yeah, and you know, obviously, us Baltimore fans are very familiar with this guy. He was you know, near and dear to our hearts. You know, as that kicker, he was that guy for so many years. Back, I think his rookie year was the year we won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Back in 2012. So he's been around. He was doing his record for the longest field goal in NFL history was recently broken. Maybe a couple of weeks back by the Jacksonville kicker, went 68 yards with a field goal. But he's eligible. I have not really followed the situation, you know, that he was going through with the massage parlors and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure what the story is with that. I'm pretty sure anybody that looks to pick him up will definitely look into that to see what the status is. You know, you don't want you know, the bad publicity if you got you know, some women's groups after you and, you know, picketing outside the stadium and all that. And, you know, you want to avoid all that kind of stuff. But the guy was a dynamite kicker. I think he tailed off the last couple years with the Ravens. He just, you know, he wasn't that guy. But I think it might have been because of the situation he was going through. Psychologically, mentally, I think he was a little off. But man, these teams want to win, and if that stuff he's going through ain't that heavy, he will certainly be on somebody's team.
Yeah, I think somebody will take a chance on him.
Yeah.
And I was kind of looking around to see who might need a kicker right now, especially with, you know, coming down the stretch of the season. And you know, all the teams that definitely playoff contention teams are going to take a look. And you know, it could be an injury. You know, and I you know, I think Luke is safe. I don't think the Ravens would bring him back here, just based on, you know, they used a draft pick to get a new kicker, and you know, I don't see them bringing Tucker back under no circumstances unless Luke was to get hurt. You know, that's the only way I can see Tucker coming back to Baltimore in any capacity. But again, he's a Hall of Fame kicker. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame at some point. And I believe he'll be on a roster. Probably, I would say probably after Thanksgiving, within the next 2 weeks. I think he'll be on somebody's roster for the, you know, to go down the stretch, last month of the season, and into the playoffs. You know, he cold weather doesn't bother him. You know, he's a strong leg kicker. So, like you said, he kicked from distance. The most accurate kicker in history. You know, pretty much his whole career, he's been superbly accurate. You know, Brittany, thanks again. Appreciate you for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you more often.
Thank you, Brittany.
You know, but yeah, so, you know, Tucker, man, because I've been following it. I've been following his, you know, his story a little bit. this, and the countdown was on. I knew after week 10 he was eligible to come back, and so he's eligible now, and so I'm keep my eyes on it to see who going to take a chance on him. And just like Deshaun Watson, who had a similar situation, somebody took a chance on him, and if not for injuries, the injuries has been his issue since he's been up in Cleveland. He just been hurt.
Yeah.
I don't think that he is not. I don't think that he's not productive or can't be productive. I just think, Watson is just somebody that just got to get beyond the injury bug. Because he was a pretty high level quarterback before all of this stuff.
No question.
He was a pretty high level quarterback before all of this. So, yeah, but they, similar situations with the massage parlors and all this stuff. And just a word of advice to to Tucker and anybody that's male clients in particular. When you go to these massage parlors, and I ain't talking about the ones you used to see in the newspaper. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the ones, the legit ones. The legit ones where you both lay on your stomach. Lay on your stomach, fellas. You can't go in there on your back trying to get a massage. Because nothing but trouble gonna come out of that. So, just a word of advice to any of the gentlemen that's going to, frequent some of these massage parlors and things like that.
Definitely, and we keeping it G rated since we know we now got 4th grade watches and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna keep that real lukewarm.
But lay on your stomach, please.
Yeah,
please. So Tucker is back. Well, he's eligible to come back.
Yeah,
and
only 35.
Yeah, he's young.
35. Yeah,
and I don't think. Guess who else back?
Okay, here we go.
The city should forgive Tuck for hanging with Wilkes and Turners and getting happy endings. Yeah. It don't take him long. It don't take him long. He come in firing.
I think did he give us a reprieve last week?
Yeah. He must have asleep last week. He must have taken a nap or something. He might have been at the massage parlor last week.
Yeah, but we were still flinching, expecting something to come.
Absolutely. Landon, what's up, brother?
Yes, sir.
My guy. Well, yeah. So, just stay on your stomachs, fellas. You go to the massage parlor, lay on your stomachs, man. Just, save yourself some of this headache.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL is making it to the league, man, is such a great feat, man, to be one of the athletes that make it to the NFL and to be able to, make that kind of money and everything. And too many times we just see people blowing it.
Yeah.
Just making silly mistakes, stupid mistakes. So yeah, be mindful.
Yeah. I thought my guy Smith got robbed of an interception.
Yeah, on that call.
I think he got robbed of that.
Yeah.
It looked like he had control of the ball. Because they say if you got control of it and it hit, you can still consider the catch.
Yeah.
I thought it was a catch. I thought it was an interception. I mean, but that's just me.
Yeah, and I wondered, man, could that be challenged, or was it challenged?
It wasn't challenged. Cause I think they
the booth helped out.
The booth replay. They call it something. The automatic is like an automatic replay.
So if they made that decision, wasn't no sense of challenging it.
Yeah, booth assist, I think it's called, or referee assist, something like that is what it's called, and they just overturned it right away.
And they overturned that. The Ravens and ran 3-4 sets of suicides out there, and celebrating in the end zone. And
they did some suicides, didn't
yeah.
Just Lenny said they just had to do a D doing suicide.
Right.
They running lines.
Right.
Yeah. So the defense is playing better. Who's on the clock this week? Miami. No. Cleveland.
Yeah.
In Cleveland. So they're going to Cleveland this week. And believe it, that game is at 4:25.
That's a 4:25 game?
According to this, they need to flex that back to 1 o'clock. Man, nobody trying to see Cleveland, man.
4 o'clock. Wow.
So, but Cleveland, again, I'm a Ravens fan, so I'm not gonna sit here and feel sorry for Cleveland. I'm not gonna do that. Poor Cleveland, I guess. I don't know. They got 17 quarterbacks on the roster.
Right.
They playing. I don't even want to get into the Shador stuff. I didn't like him being there from the beginning. I thought it was bad from the beginning that he went there of all places. It's Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? I mean, after LeBron in 2016?
Right.
20, what's Cleveland really got going? Yeah. You can't even think of nothing.
Guardians been doing anything? I don't know.
I mean, the Cavaliers team this year, with the last couple of years, they've been playing some decent basketball.
They've been playing some good basketball, yeah.
They've been decent. I don't know what the Guardians are doing.
Donovan Mitchell led team, yeah. They've been doing that.
Donovan Mitchell is a baller.
But when we talking about the Browns, though.
Yeah, we talking about the Browns.
They did make it to the playoffs with Flacco that year, a couple years back. Looked pretty good that year. But really, it seemed like, some of the moves that upper management been making with the Browns has always been questioned. Obviously, starting out with the quarterback situation, they gave a lot away, to get that guy, and he was involved in the shenanigans that we were just talking about. So, they've been catching a lot of flack, but they always play us pretty tough a lot of times, despite the struggles with the team. I'm anxious to see their defensive line going against our offensive line, because that's one of their strengths. They've been a pretty good team defensively this year, and it's going to be interesting, man, to see how this Ravens offensive line deal with their defensive line.
Yeah. We got our fullback back, which will help.
Big difference.
He'll help with some of that pass rush. He's like you say, he's definitely a difference maker.
Yeah.
And he'll lay hands on some of them big guys, slow them down just a little bit. Yeah, Landon said Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is about it for Cleveland. That's about all they got. And I think this weekend was the induction.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I know Salt and Pepper went in, and
oh yeah, I saw that.
Outkast, and
okay,
I'm sure it was some other people. Those are the ones that jumped out the page to be, But shout out to those that got in. Cyndi Lauper, I think, went in.
Okay.
Girls want to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the 80s.
Yeah, I remember old Cindy.
Yeah. Yeah, so she a Hall of Famer now. So Hall of Fame is a big draw for Cleveland. I don't see me taking a trip up there for that.
No.
But if you and then again, if you live in Cleveland and you watching the show, more power to you. But thanks for watching.
Right.
Thanks for watching. Make sure y'all subscribing too.
And I know it didn't go over real well, but we appreciate the franchise too, football franchise. And you know, and I think about that.
Wait
One
a
of the
minute.
guys who was really, you know, trying to block
Wait a minute.
Baltimore from getting
Thank you for what? You
the
say you thank Cleveland for what again?
yeah, for that franchise. Yeah. Yeah, you know, and I know it didn't go over well with them at that time. And you know, speaking of people checking out, Paul Tagliabue,
Yeah. I forgot Paul Tagliabue.
he
Rest in
checked
peace.
out also, and he was one of the main guys who was pushing back Baltimore getting the franchise. So yeah, that was back in the day. Baltimore went gangster.
Yeah.
Franchise.
He say build a museum, huh? And then what Tagliabue said,
He
build a museum.
Say that again.
He told us to build a museum.
Build a museum. That's what he said.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Right.
You see this comment on the screen?
The city of Cleveland is like turn the station on steroids.
This guy, man. I'll tell you.
Ain't a whole lot to say about Cleveland.
Yeah, man, I forgot about Tagliabue. Maybe that's why, you know. I know he's a Georgetown guy. He played basketball down there at Georgetown.
Yeah, he was definitely homies with Jack Kent Cook, who was owning the Redskins at the time.
Yeah.
And so they fought to keep a franchise out of Baltimore. So they dogged us with the expansion team. That kind of forced Baltimore to get a little underhanded.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
I do, yeah.
You know, I wasn't a fan of it in the beginning, but I'm here for it now. Hey, thank you, Cleveland.
Yeah.
You know, I've been watching some old football games on YouTube, and I've been watching a lot of Baltimore Colts games here at the old Memorial Stadium. I mentioned this to you before, how horrible of a field that was.
Yeah.
for football. It just looked bad. I'm looking at it now, and I guess because I have the stadiums that we have today that are more football. They built specifically for football. They're not multi-purpose stadiums like they used to build back in the day for baseball, football, whatever other sports. The stadiums today are built more specific to certain sports. And looking at Memorial Stadium, I ran into an old Cleveland Browns game at the old Cleveland Stadium. As a matter of fact, so you know how it is on YouTube, man. You watch one and then that go off and something else will come up. So I fell asleep watching something. I'm sure I was watching one of those old Colts games. When I woke up the next morning, the last game at Cleveland Stadium was on.
Wow.
In 1995. And Cleveland, man, they had I was just looking at some of the guys that came to Baltimore with them. Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Derek Alexander. Ernest Bond.
Was Testaverde on that team, or we picked him up?
Yeah, Testaverde was the quarterback.
Yeah.
That game. The game I was watching, he was the quarterback.
Yeah. What about Zeus?
Zeus was there. Yep. I saw what's my guy, the defensive end. I'm terrible with names.
McCrary? Oh no, wait a minute.
No, it wasn't McCrary. The other dude played on the outside.
Yeah.
When they won the Super Bowl in 2000. Damn, I can't remember his name. Wore number 90.
Yeah. Burnett.
Rob Burnett.
Yeah.
Rob Burnett. Yeah, he was on there. He made a couple plays that game, you know. But it was just, just the energy, man. You had them fans was out there in Cleveland, man. They know this the last game. And I think they kept saying it's a rumor. It's possibly the last game. They kept saying that.
Yeah.
And I think Modell waited until after that game to make it official.
Yeah.
I remember, I believe it was after the day after that game when he was down there on the parking lot over there where the football stadium is right now, where they made that announcement that the team was going to be moving to Baltimore, and that they were going to leave the colors and all that stuff in Cleveland, and I guess you learn from the move that the Colts made and how heartbroken the city was, that the history and the tradition and everything went to Indianapolis with them. They didn't leave anybody nothing. What you say? They left the band, right?
Yeah, they left the band. They could have took that. They could have took that band, boy. I swear.
And they left the band, and they could have went on here and took that.
Yeah.
You might well just cleaned up shop.
Could have stuffed all of them right in the back of the damn Mayflower with the equipment. They could have been banging, on the way over,
Yeah, so they left the band for us, and they were still marching in parades and everything.
Yeah,
they were still active.
And it was kind of interesting back then when the Colts, Indianapolis Colts, wanted to do some kind of historical thing on the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the Baltimore Colts wouldn't show up, wouldn't participate. In some of those outings that they had. Some players did, but a lot of them did not.
Hey, Landon, I can't post that comment, brother. I can't post that one. Yeah, I got to leave that one be.
Yeah,
I might need to go back in Facebook and delete that.
Filter.
Yeah, you tripping.
There is a filter, right?
He's talking. He's gonna tell you about it later. This guy, he take a week off. Now he gotta make up for it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He gotta make up for it. He killing us in the comments. Yeah, but Cleveland, man. Because Cleveland was a once proud franchise. I will say that. They were a perennial playoff team.
Very good football team.
Very good football team, man. For me, right? Especially during the 80s, 70s, and 80s. I was a young kid in the 70s and 80s. Just really starting to watch football. Really don't understand the business of sports and the need to have certain things in these stadiums, and not understanding, Cleveland Stadium was however many years old it was. It didn't look good on TV. You know what I'm saying? That stadium, I remember the Orioles playing there for against the Indians back in the day. And then you see the Cleveland Browns. The stadium didn't look good on television. It didn't present well on TV. And when you look at, like you said, you look at what's going on now with sports, the advancements that they made with stadium construction, all of the gadgets and things that they're putting in these stadiums now, with everything is pretty much automated You got scoreboards and running scoreboards. You got the gambling stuff up there now. Some of these stadiums are being built with heated fields. So that they don't ice up and melt. Man. So it's like, because you look at some of the older games and the conditions of some of the fields, and you're like, man, how were these guys playing on this? How was it not more injuries? I saw a game. You might remember this game, the old Monday night football game with the Baltimore Colts against the New England Patriots.
Oh yeah, I watched that.
Where Joe Washington went nuts.
Joe showed off in the rain.
But in the field looked like, it's an artificial turf field, man. It just looked crazy. It looked crazy. How was guys playing football on artificial turf? Cement, basically.
Yeah.
Because it ain't the artificial turf that they got nowadays with the synthetic grass and all that stuff. They were playing basically on that carpet.
Yeah.
Over top of cement.
Yeah. And at that time, the players were very unhappy with that surface that they were playing on. And, it was, having natural grass was the way to go. And a lot of franchises were trying to do that. It's kind of tough keeping up the grass, when it's dealing with the football. And like you say, those stadiums were multi-purpose stadiums. Mm-hmm. Baseball, and you flipping back and forth to prepare for a football game. And, especially when baseball and football were going on at the same time. So I think they put in a lot of science into the fields that's out there now. And you don't hear those kind of complaints, and you don't see those kind of crazy injuries, man, where, the cleat or whatever gets stuck up in that old AstroTurf. And those toe injuries, man. There was a lot of toe injuries that players got back then. I think Dion had that. What they used to call it when they
turf toe.
Turf toe, yeah. You get that turf toe, and eventually, he got his toe and half his foot probably amputated, man, based on that injury as it throughout his career after he retired and everything. So yeah, thank goodness for the new turf and everything. And in Cleveland, despite that stadium, and I know Art Modell, who was the owner at the time, had big complaints and wanted a new stadium, and but they were some rabid fans, man. That dog pound was crazy.
Yeah.
Back there, so they clearly loved their team, but it was the city not being able to accommodate and keep up with the times, and new stadiums is was the deal. Matter of fact, I think they might be up for a new stadium again. When did they come back in to the league?
99.
99, yeah. So here we go. I think they looking for a new stadium again. So got to keep up with the times these days.
So you a sports historian like the Black Chuck Thompson.
Oh, Chuck. Chuck Thompson been gone for a while, boy. Chuck was a great announcer, man.
Yeah, man. Ain't the bear cold? Ain't that what he used to say?
Right.
Ain't
the bear cold.
Yeah. So you got that good recall.
Yeah.
He hit you with the Chuck Thompson.
Yeah, old Chuck.
But yeah, and it's crazy now. You seeing stadiums getting built. Pretty much. I've seen Atlanta get 2 stadiums. So they used to play at Fulton County.
Yeah.
Where the Braves and the Falcons played. The Braves got the new stadium after the Olympics.
Yeah.
Olympic Stadium, they turned that into the Braves
Baseball.
Stadium. That was 96. That was 96.
Right.
I don't know what year the Georgia Dome came into effect. Because I think they played some Olympic games at the Georgia Dome, if I ain't mistaken.
I think so. I think the Georgia Dome was there already. Yeah.
So now they got another dome, the Mercedes-Benz Dome, which is up the street from the Georgia Dome. And then they got a new baseball stadium.
Yeah.
As well. You know,
right.
And I rode past the new baseball stadium when I was down there a couple years ago.
Right.
I mean, the whole little area is like a little, you know, like a bunch of restaurants and, you know, I guess you would equate it to like a Fells Point, type of area here, where a lot of restaurants and bars and all that stuff leading right up to the stadium, you know. But and I guess that's the new thing. You know, you want to make these areas where you build these stadiums, you want to get the most bang for your buck. You know, so make it like a new entertainment district type of spot.
Yeah.
So not only can you get the game, but you can go ahead on and you know, get some food and get some drinks here, and get some entertainment. So then you must have been 25 in high school.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. But you know, that's the new thing. So you know, think about here at Camden Yards, and you got M&T Stadium basically right next door to it. You got the Horseshoe Casino on the other side of it, and you got the Top Golf right there. You know, so and I believe they building some other stuff down there as well. So you know, you're trying to maximize, and it's in the downtown area. So you got some things that's right around the stadium that you know bring people into the city. You know, just trying to maximize that dollar. You know, while they're here. But I don't see, and Baltimore is not the type of place they're going to be building stadiums every 25 years.
No,
they're going to be in there on that remodeling, you know, and gutting. You know, the Orioles have been doing some work every season the last couple of years.
Yeah,
took some seats out the building. You know, moved the wall in or moved the wall back in left field, and you know all this little stuff they doing. So you know the stadium game is one you got to win when you want to keep these franchises, you know, in these cities. You got to stay competitive that way.
Yeah.
Everybody from Turner's, y'all watching, man. Y'all, Landon Saunders is making these comments. You know, I don't know who down there ran him up out of there back in the day. He must have came down there to see somebody and was told he wasn't welcome, and he just hadn't forgot it.
Right.
He's not letting it go. You know. So if that was you that ran Landon Saunders up out of Turner Station back in the day,
who was she, Landon? Who was she?
Who was the girl? That could help us figure out who ran you up out of there.
Exactly. We could have warned you. You could have checked in with us first. We could have warned you.
Yeah. No, she live in O'Donnell Heights, man.
Right.
Yeah, so I had opportunity on Friday to make it down to College Park to watch the Georgetown University Hoyas play against the University of Maryland Terrapins in basketball, college basketball, men's college basketball there. And have you made it down there to a game yet at the Xfinity Center?
I have not.
So real good experience. You know, real good experience, man. I really enjoyed, you know, watching the game. I had a really decent seats, so the view was pretty good. We were able to see everything pretty cool. Me and CB went. CB
Okay.
that comes on the podcast every now and again. The Brooks Blackboard. Me and him went down and caught the game. Of course, I was in enemy territory. I am I can't say lifelong, but I'm a long time Georgetown Hoyas fan. I didn't have any Hoyas gear on, but I did have, the blue. I had my blue on, and I was definitely cheering for the Hoyas amongst all the sea of red that I was in, or sea of yellow, because it was a yellow out.
Yeah.
They wanted everybody to wear yellow, so all the Maryland students had the yellow. But it's a real nice venue for basketball. Very nice venue for basketball. The energy was in the building. Georgetown won, of course. Hoyas win. As a matter of fact, they were leading from the start. They never trailed in that game. So Georgetown came up the parkway a little bit, did what they had to do. Went on back down DC, with little Chuck Brown on the bus going back. Victory dance. Real good game, man. Good competitive game. College basketball is back. The difference now is for a college basketball fan. Once upon a time, we knew who everybody on these teams were. From year to year, you kind of knew who was on the team, who was coming back, who the incoming guys were.
Right.
I didn't know not one player from Maryland. I think they said Maryland pretty much overhauled the whole roster.
Yeah, it was a whole roster.
The whole roster is changed up. And one of their players transferred to Georgetown.
Yeah.
And they booed him every time he touched the basketball.
Yeah, Deshaun Harris-Smith.
Yeah, every time he touched it.
Yeah.
So you can get into places that don't get background checks. Yeah. I snuck in, slid on in. I slid on in there. Told him I knew Landon, knew Saunders. They said, okay, you good.
Yeah.
You good. I name drop when I go to places.
And I think Georgetown got a pretty decent team too, man. I watched them. They got a couple of 7-footers down there in the hole, and they were definitely seemed to be more athletic than Maryland. They played some pressure defense that kind of had Maryland a little rattled there. So I like the way Georgetown look. I think they beat Kentucky, right?
Yeah, yep.
Already this year. So look like I think Coach Cooley.
Yeah, Ed Cooley. Yep.
Yeah, I think Coach Cooley got a pretty good squad down there with the Hoyas this year. Some real strong, aggressive players. His personality is definitely being carried out on that floor. Maryland, like you say, they come in with a whole new roster with a brand new coach and new coaching staff, Buzz Williams. There is nobody on that team from last year. They all gone. They all transferred. A team that made it to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
So here you come with Buzz, and then with the timing of that last coach they had, I'm not even going to dignify his name. He went over there to Villanova.
Yeah.
And the timing of him leaving and the way he played that out, which was horrible. Left the university in a tough position. They had to quickly hire a coach, which was Buzz Williams, and then he had to construct a full roster in a short period of time. And so a lot of Texas A&M guys came. He was former A&M coach down there, and they came with him. So not a bad showing by the Terps. Like you say, it was a competitive game. But yeah, Georgetown looked okay to me, man. I think definitely compete.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say they back. I ain't gonna say they can compete for a national championship.
No.
But compared to where they have been in the last few years, and it's been hard a couple of years to watch Georgetown. it was good to see. You know, it's good to see that effort.
Yeah.
And again on the road. You know, on the road, man, in a hostile environment. You know, it's a game that I think there's a series now, so I think they're gonna play home and home for the next couple of years. So next year the game should be down in DC.
And it's a big deal. I mean, that series that you're talking about is a big deal because you know, with the talent-rich DMV area, with those teams playing each other, it could easily sway, you know, these high-profile ball players coming out. You know,
yeah, indeed.
I want to go to Georgetown or Maryland. You know, so this is big, man. This is really big. Well, we're gonna definitely be seeing how that's gonna play out over the next few years. Yeah.
So just see some breaking news here. That's Jair Alexander is stepping away from football.
Yeah, I saw that.
To focus on getting himself right physically and mentally. So, you know, he was here in Baltimore. They signed him, Ravens signed him in the offseason. And he was, you know, supposed to help out with that defensive backfield. And it just didn't look like he definitely, I don't even know if he was on the field that much when he was here.
Not much.
Yeah, and when he wasn't much. Yeah, and when he was on the field, it didn't look good at all. So he saying he's stepping away and contemplating retirement from football altogether.
He said he is?
Yeah, I see that now. They say he's contemplating retirement, but he's going to take some time to think about it first. So, you know, just send prayers out, man, to that young fella. He's only 28 years old. So Chuck Thompson, the black Chuck Thompson, were you at the game? Wilt scored 100 points. I think that game was up in Hershey, PA, if I ain't mistaken.
Hershey, PA, that's where it was. And for the record, I was not in attendance. I was not in attendance.
So you didn't make that one up.
It's that one. I missed that one.
Okay.
But you know, but you know, it's interesting, man, when you read that note about Alexander leaving and he wanted to get himself back physically. I know he was having some kind of knee issues, but he also threw that mental aspect in there too, talking about healthy there. Yeah. And when you talk about the Dallas Cowboy player, who recently
young fella,
guy recently scored a touchdown. Was that Monday night or Sunday night or something?
Yeah, that was like Sunday night.
Yeah,
Sunday or Monday night, one of them games. I was watching it.
Down 3 days later, he's shooting himself.
Yeah,
to kill himself. So, and you know, that mental issue, man, is just becoming more and more prominent. You know, you see it all the time with these athletes. You know, what's his name? The former Pittsburgh receiver, Antonio Brown. He's back in the news again.
Yeah,
we know of his struggles, and so all throughout, man, there's a lot of mental health issues that and I just think the way society is, it's breeding mental health issues more than maybe it used to, and but it's heavy to see that. So I hope Alexander, man, and Jair can get himself together. Condolences, man, to the family of the Cowboys player that went down.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, you see that all the time. If you go down there to the jail, man, and talk to some of the folks that's locked up, man, you'll see that there's a whole lot of mental issues with these guys, man. And I think that's something that society's really going to have to get a handle on.
Indeed, man, and you know, I work in the field. Marshawn Nealon is the young fella from Dallas Cowboys that unfortunately
Young guy too, right?
Young guy, yeah, he's like 24.
24, 25.
Something like that. Yeah, young guy, man. I work in that field. I work in the mental health field, and I had a client that ended his own life. And it was the mental health aspect that kind of forced them into that situation.
Yeah.
He was really struggling with his mental health, and sometimes, man, you put you got these people in situations, and you just hope that the people that are around them pick up on the signs that something is going on that we may need to address, and not by calling the police. You know what I'm saying? And that the young guy that I personally knew, he took his own life. He just was struggling. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to kind of fathom what somebody's dealing with when they're telling you they're struggling, and you can't really make sense out of why they're struggling. The things that they're telling you as reasons why they're struggling, why they're going through what they're going through. It's tough sometimes to really decipher. Is it okay? Is this some game he running, or is this a real thing? So you always got to proceed err on the side of caution. When you're dealing with those things, and I don't know the circumstances. I know they were saying that the young man in Dallas he had lost his mom.
Yeah.
About a year ago, I believe, and they were really close. And you just never know, man, what it is that will tip the scales for people. When if mom was that one person, that support that he could just whatever he was going through, mom was the one that could make it all better. And you lose that, and not really know how to deal with situations without that person. It can make things difficult. It can really put you in a difficult position. So again, I don't know all the facts of the case, and I'm just kind of going by some of the rumblings, some of the things I've heard as possible reasons why. It's just unfortunate to have to, the mental health aspect of life, and it's so much more prevalent in society these days. But for a professional athlete or a professional entertainer, somebody that's in front of the camera, that you live your life in a public way, and you're trying to deal with these private things in a public forum is got to make it that much harder. Like you said, he was just on top of the mountain just a few days before that.
Yeah.
You score a touchdown on national television
and Monday night.
And just a few days after that, you don't have any will to live. And there's nothing anybody can say or do that's going to stop it. When you make that decision, there is no turning back from that. So a lot of the questions we'll never get the answers to, because the answers went along with them.
Yeah, it's sad. I know he was in some kind of police chase or something, and he evaded. What do you say?
Hey, don't call me on the job between 12 and 3. That's my nap time.
Yeah. That whole that thing, man. I mean that depression thing, and I mean, and a lot of it is chemical imbalance.
Mm-hmm.
But ain't a whole lot you can do. I mean, a lot of times you can't. There's no talking. Talking those folks down. If that balance, that chemical balance is off, and they're not on their medication. I did have a friend in college that he told me one day, and I noticed a lot of people didn't like him and they didn't fool with him, and he told me, he said he was taking lithium.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at that time I had no idea what that was, and he said, "Yeah, I'm taking lithium, man." You know, and he said he's a manic depressive,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, he said I haven't told anybody else that. He said you're the only one I've ever told that to here, and I had no idea what it was, you know, and that wasn't, you know, back in the day. You didn't just you couldn't go on your phone and Google it, you know, back then, you know. So, but you know, I just remember he was his sisters and stuff came up to the college, and they was looking for him. They couldn't find him, and have you seen him? You know, and they came to me asking me had I seen him, and I said, well, I saw him. You know, he was in class, you know, like a couple days ago or whatever, and you know, ultimately, man, he jumped off that bridge at Morgan.
Mm.
You know, and you know, he survived, but he was messed up, man. You know, his hip was all broken up, his foot and his head and his teeth and knocked out and all that kind of stuff. But he ultimately survived that, and you know, and it's weird, man, because before he did that, he had came to me in one of my classes, and he was like, "Can you give me a ride home?" And I said, "Yeah, I can give you a ride home." But he was looking crazy as hell, man. You know, like I had never seen him looking like that. And I was like, "The hell's going on with Tim?" So I went and got one of my other boys. I was like, "Man, can you ride with me? I'm taking Tim home."
Yeah.
But he looking like real crazy. And so he rode with me. So we was taking him home, man. It was just weird, man. And he was like screaming out some Bible verses while I was taking him home, and he stopped and said, "Y'all want something from McDonald's?" He gave us something from McDonald's. We ate, then we left McDonald's and we drove, you know, 4, 5, 6 blocks up the road, and then he come back. He wanted to take us to McDonald's again. Then he stopped at the fruit stand. He lived up off of Liberty Road and got out there, man. And when we got in the house with him, wasn't nobody there. He took us in the basement and he wanted to pray. You know, so we tripping, man. You know, it's just, and now I took him to his grandmother's house off of North Avenue, and that's when his grandmother had told me, he said, you gotta be careful with him. He will hurt you. Hurt you. She said, if he don't take his medicine, he will hurt you. She said, now you just listen to what I'm saying. He will hurt you. And ultimately, the guy that rode with me to take him home later in life, he almost killed him.
Really?
He almost hit him in the head with a hammer.
Wow.
You know, and then ultimately, he wound up taking his own life somewhere along the line.
Wow.
Shot himself, man. So that mental health thing, man, is, and that was my close experience with it. And it was mind-boggling, man. And I guess he considered me probably his best friend up there at Morgan. And but I wasn't afraid to, you know, correct him and say things to him. We sitting up in the you know, up in the cafeteria ready to eat, and he put his feet up on the table.
Yeah.
And I was like, motherfucker, man, if you don't take your goddamn feet off of this table, you know, and it was things like that, man. And as a matter of fact, he and I went, and the female went up to Philly to watch Michael Jordan play the Sixers and Dr. J.
Okay.
You know, and I think that might have been Dr. J's last season. And, you know, I was able to get an opportunity to see Michael Jordan, you know, balling up there. But, yeah, that mental health is something, man.
Yeah, so Lenny says it's difficult for Black men to discuss mental health issues because of how strong we should be and the insensitivity of society for mental illness. That is very true.
Very true.
Very true, because you know, men have to present this image. You know, you got to be strong.
Yeah.
You know, any sign of weakness, you know, you looked at as less than a man.
Right.
You know, so you really can't and you got to be careful who you express things to.
Absolutely.
So, like you said, you go to somebody, he came to you and shared to you that he was, a manic depressive.
Yeah.
And, you had the demeanor and the compassion to not judge him in that moment. Where if he said that to somebody else, the reaction could have been a whole lot different and it could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just for how he reacted to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you, like I say, you opened up yourself to see, to because you I think a lot of times you crying out for something.
Yes.
You said, was that to see Doc in the ABA? the Virginia Squires, or was that the New Jersey Nets?
Right.
I mean, the New York Nets. I'm sorry, New York Nets. Yeah. Yeah, mental health is definitely a subject that's near and dear to me. Because I say I work in the field, so I'll have some clients that are really struggling with their mental health. I've seen them when they have not been medicated, and it can be a scary situation. It can be a very scary situation, man. And I wasn't one of those people that was a big proponent of medication at once upon a time, but I see the benefit to people that are just struggling, and just really struggling with these mental health diagnoses, man. And sometimes the stigma of even taking medication, it forces people to not want to take it, which ultimately will make things worse. If you're not doing what's prescribed for you, the outcomes could be that much worse. And it's a 50-50, not even a 50-50. It's just it's a tough place to be, for families, because I've seen families that have to deal with, people with these diagnoses, man, and it's a struggle for everybody.
Oh yeah.
It's a struggle on everybody, man, to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
But like I say, it's much more prevalent in society than we would ever think. There are people that we go to work with, people in our communities, people that we run into at the supermarket, at the dollar stores and everything that are really dealing with some heavy things.
Right.
And you would never know it unless they acted out on it.
Yeah.
But they are out amongst us. In our community, we deem abnormal behavior as a bad and not as people needing care. That's facts.
Yeah.
That's facts. And you got a segment of society that just want to lock everybody up. With everybody, jail is not for everybody. Everything is not a jailable offense. Or a death sentence. Because we also know that people with mental health, when they don't have the reasoning skills to de-escalate, and we know that there have been cases where they've been, taken out of here.
Yeah.
By whoever the case. I'm not going to pick on nobody tonight. It's not what I'm trying to do. But the bigger issue is that mental health is a major concern now and should probably be dealt with much more seriously than it has been dealt with in the past. So I am a proponent. Again, I work in the field, so I'm a little bit biased in that aspect. I see the need for mental health people that work in the mental health field, and you got to have compassion. You got to have compassion for people to do that type of work. It's not easy work to do, you know, but you got to have compassion for people and want to see people be better. And just kind of understand that, you know, it's always meet people where they are. That's something that always stuck with me in my education is, you know, when you meet with clients, you're working with these clients, you meet them where they are. And so if they are, you know, somebody doesn't read well, you know, you had to take that into consideration, and you can't just throw something in front of them and tell them to read it and expect them to understand it. You know,
Yeah.
you know, this guy here, man.
Manifestation turn syndrome.
This guy, man. you right. Oh man. What else is going on in the world of sports as we get to the back end of the show? You know, Ravens got a dub and it's all good.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be a lot of babies named Lamar born in 9 months. Lamar and the female version of Lamar, Lamaria, or whatever, however they're going, you know how we do.
Right.
We get real creative with them names, you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure over the last, 7 years, there's been a large influx of Lamar folks in the Baltimore area.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's that guy,
Yeah.
Excited about the Ravens getting back into the hunt there. I think what their game back of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh lost to San Diego, so here we go, and we still play the Steelers twice.
Twice, yeah.
This year, so so it's a whole different vibe from when those Ravens were 1-5. I mean, speaking of mental health issues, man, it seemed like the whole city was stuck with 1-5, man. I mean,
yeah.
Everybody was hurting.
They were some tough times in the city, wasn't
it?
Yeah. It was some tough times here on the Sports Mix.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, right. It was tough. I was like, man, are we going to ever win another game?
Yeah.
Is this ever going to end?
Right.
So, but hey, it's 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time. Ravens are 4-5 right now. They win this Sunday. You're 500, and at 10 games, you got 7 left.
Right.
Seven left, man. I mean, what'd you say? You go 5-2. I think that's good. 10-3 should get you in.
Right.
10-3 should get you in.
I mean, we win that division. We good.
Yeah, and that's the fear right now.
Yeah,
that's the fear from all the other people. Some Steeler fans that watch the show.
Yeah,
they've been awful quiet these last couple of weeks here because they see what's happening with the Ravens, so they ain't got a lot to say about the Ravens. And they surely ain't talking about their team. So I can't wait until we play them. And that's coming up. The first game should be, let me see, they play them. I know they play them the last game of the season. So we play them December 7th. And whatever date the last game is going to be, they haven't even figured out what date because it could be a flex game.
Yeah.
So that last game could be a Saturday game, could be a Sunday night game, could be a Monday game. You never know. I told people, man, don't get too caught up in what's happening in September and October. Anything can happen. You want to be playing your best football going into the playoffs. This time of year is when you want to be coming into form. You want your best football to be played now. So people was losing it in September and jumping off cliffs and filing for divorces and
Yeah.
was putting kids up for adoption and
Yeah. Yeah.
all this kind of just devastation.
Right.
People, the key bridge was they had to put barriers up, man, for people couldn't even get to it.
Exactly.
They were surely trying to jump off it.
Right.
What was left of it?
It was that bad.
Yeah, it was bad. As a matter of fact, they were trying to jump off any bridge.
Yeah, anything. Key bridge not there, go to the next one.
Yeah. And God forbid, people go down there to the World Trade Center and try to see the top of the world down there.
Yeah.
I'm glad they got fences up around that.
Long way down.
Yeah. Well, we coming back. Ravens are, one of the premier organizations in football. And I want people to remember that.
Easily.
They are one of the premier organizations in football, all of football. And again, we called out Eric DeCosta because it's always easy to say, let's fire the coach. We got to fire the coach. And I was telling people, if for those that listen to me, because I know everybody don't listen to me, but I was telling them, the Ravens are not the type of team that's going to fire somebody in the season. They've never done it. They've never done it. I mean, they've only had 3 head coaches in their history.
Yeah.
And they've never fired anybody at any part during the season. It's always at the end of the season. And that may be an organizational position this is not how we operate.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it's the right one. Because sometimes making a change just for the sake of change ain't the right thing to do. Because I said it a little earlier, I was very vocal about wanting Zach Orr to be out of here. And he's been, he's here for the turnaround. He's able to see, the defense playing a whole lot better over the last couple of weeks. I don't know what's changed with, getting some personnel back helps. And like we said earlier, some of the younger guys are stepping up and playing the bigger roles and being a little more productive on defense, which is helping. And sometimes, man, as a coach, man, when you see it and you know that you got guys that can get it done and they just not getting it done for whatever reason, and you laying your job on the line. I'm laying my job on the line waiting for you to be productive. Waiting for you to do what we know that you can do. NFL stay scared of us no matter what the record. You're right. And that's because of reputation. Reputation helps us to have that fear stoked in these other teams. What do you say? You have to have a replacement in hand to make changes. That part.
Right.
That part. You can't just make a change just because you're not happy with the changes, because you make a change and things could get worse. Things could get worse. And so, I like the fact that we're not one of them knee-jerk teams that go firing coaches every year and getting rid of people every year because they didn't like the outcome of the season. I think, in business, the most successful ones have stability. And I've talked about that here before too, especially in sports. The teams that have the most stability and ownership and in the front office and the coaching staffs, they always are teams that are in the running, year after year. They may have a down year here and there, but for the most part, these teams are always in the running. The blown coverages. the blown coverages have seemed to decrease. Wait a minute. He said, "Could I ask Dean your question? What question did you want me to ask Dean, man?" I thought I asked you a question. You must went went to the men's room or something when I asked the question. What question you need me to ask?
What was that? About seeing Wilt play?
Oh, wait a minute. All right, here we go. Let me see. Do any of the current Ravens remind you of the old Colts game you attended when they first came to Baltimore?
But that's a good question. Back when the Baltimore Colts was in town, they had a quarterback, man, that was like that. Burt Jones.
Yeah.
Burt Jones actually won a MVP with the Colts, and I don't know if it was 77 that he won it.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at one of those shows that they have talking about the top 10, and Burt Jones' year, his quarterback year, ranked really high on that top 10. I mean, he was one of the old school names that was up there with the Joe Montanas and all these dudes having these great years. So when Lamar came to town, and started doing his thing, winning that MVP, it did remind me of Burt Jones, and that's about the only one I could think of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Baltimore Colts. I used to love them.
Yeah. He said when they first came here.
When the Colts first came, you talking about Johnny U and Alan Amici and them winning the championship.
Do any of the current Ravens remind you of the old Colts you attended when they first came to Baltimore?
Yeah, and I don't even know when they first came. It must have been in the 50s, I guess. The old Memorial Stadium.
Yeah. I got a picture of Memorial Stadium right over there.
Burt was my man. Yeah. Unitas, yeah. Johnny U.
Oh, Johnny U. Yeah, opportunity, man, one time. I think I told this story before. I saw Johnny U at a Dunbar basketball game up there at Towson, the Charm City Classic. And old Johnny, I guess that was his grandson he was with, he was a little young fella. And they came in to watch the game. And he, Johnny, man, he wasn't moving too good. This was the early 90s. So he was still, getting around, but you could just see it. Them legs, man. He was moving a little slow. And he waved at us. He saw us looking at him, but I was just so like I ain't want to, I'd be so careful about disrupting people's peace. I don't like to be running up on people, man. Hey, and it wasn't like we had phones back then to get a picture. Or I ain't had nothing to get an autograph or nothing like that. But we just waved at him. He waved at us, we waved back. And kind of left it at that. I always like those moments like that, man. I always like take advantage when you get to meet somebody like that and just kind of pick their brain a little bit. Because sometimes they want to be engaged.
Yeah.
They want to just talk because they, just have regular conversation. Because I definitely didn't see him play. So I couldn't talk to him about the game in '66.
Right.
I wasn't born till '71. So then he say, "You go back to Y.A. Tittle days."
Right. Well, I did see John Unitas play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My first game that I ever watched at Memorial Stadium was the Colts and the Jets. My father took me to the game, and Joe Namath was with the Jets.
Mm.
Broadway Joe and Johnny U was still with the Colts then. So yeah, at a very young age, I had an opportunity to see some of them guys play. Historically, I saw Earl of Pearl play down at the Civic Center with the Baltimore Bullets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's myself, them guys. So so I do, Frank, playing with the Orioles and Brooks and them guys. So So, historically, man, I've seen some of those legendary players with our franchise back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite far back as Y.A. Tittle and Babe Ruth and them guys. I miss them.
Oh, you ain't see Babe either, huh?
Right, I miss Babe and them guys, man, and Ted Williams and them. I miss them guys, man.
Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, Jackie. I didn't catch Jackie, man.
You know who else I had opportunity to meet? Art Donovan.
Oh, Art.
I met Art Donovan, man, in the parking lot at the First Mariner Bank that used to be up on York Road in Lutherville.
He a talker. And
man, you remember I had the big van I had?
Yeah.
So I was working. I used to bank with them. So I was in there, taking care of some business in the morning. It was early in the morning, about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And I was coming out. As I was walking out, there was a lady walking in. I'm assuming that was his wife because she was driving the car. He was sitting in the passenger seat, but his car was parked next to my van. And as I was getting in the van, I didn't even notice him at first. I saw somebody sitting in the car, but I didn't look to see who it was. And he said, "That's a nice color van." And I turned to say, "Thank you." I said, "Oh shit, that's Art Donovan."
Yeah.
He kind of smiled. He said, "Yeah, he said, I like that van, man. It's a nice, nice color." I said, "Thank you, I appreciate that." And I just thought, we just started talking a little bit, asked him how he was doing, and just a little small talk. And then I just started talking about, me seeing him on TV. I said, I'm a little too young to have seen you play. But, I watched, see you on the commercials and seeing you on the David Letterman show. I remember he was big on coming on David Letterman. And he was a funny guy. And I just led into, the conversation about the football team and the NFL in particular. And he told me straight up, he said, "Man, I watched the Ravens a little bit, but I don't really watch the football like that, man." He said, because it's just not the same, And you coming from a guy that played back in the 50s, 50s and I guess the early 60s, and how his perspective was, of course, they weren't making the money that the guys are making today. But he said, man, he blamed the owners. He loved the players, but he just didn't particularly care for the owners. And I believe the ownership had something to do with how players of his era were treated, where they weren't getting health care and, the retirement benefits weren't the greatest, for guys that played in the NFL once upon a time. So he had a real issue with, the ownership of the NFL at that time. But really, really, really cool guy, man. We talked like 5 or 10 minutes. It wasn't a long conversation. Real brief, man, but he was engaging. He opened up, talked to me. He didn't have to talk to me at all. But I always, remember that few minutes I had talking to him. The living legend is what they used to call him.
Yeah.
Art Donovan. Even when I said that, he kind of blew that off. Like, yeah, I'm just Art. I ain't no, 11, whatever. But real humble guy, man. I just never forget that day talking to him. Here we go. Robbing banks is not considered banking. You right. You right, my brother. You right, Landy. You right. And I would have got caught talking to him because he held me up. I was trying to make my getaway. He want to be talking. The living legend.
What's going on with our guy down there in Memphis?
Oh, John Morant.
Yeah.
Man, look like John trying to get up out of there.
That's what it sounds like.
Look like he's trying to get on out of there. I don't know really what's stirring all this stuff up. But it just looked like he not happy with what's going on. And it seemed like they trying to get him to come off the basketball a little bit.
Yeah.
And I guess his thing is, well, who am I going to give it to? You want me to come off the ball, but who going to take the ball in my place and make something happen? So I need to dig into that situation a little more, just to kind of get the inside on what's really happening down there in Memphis.
Yeah.
And John's one of my favorite players.
Yeah, he's exciting, man.
He's one of my favorite players in the league right now. And I pull for him, man. He had his little legal stuff, and he had a situation with the guns.
Yeah.
You just hope that he mature and kind of get beyond that stuff. But I just hope, man, that he's able to figure the situation out, whatever it is that's going on. That they figure it out one way or the other. Because I already see people talking about potential trade partners with Memphis. Who he'd be a good fit.
He just going through the motions out there on the floor.
Yeah.
It ain't a good look.
Yeah, so I'm just hopeful, man. I'm a Ja fan. I just want to see him, pull it together. Just want to see him pull it together, man.
I'm not sure about down there in Dallas, man. Is Nico Harrison still on board? He didn't get fired, did he? The GM down there?
Not officially.
Okay.
But I keep seeing that he's gonna get fired.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing.
Yeah, I keep saying he's gonna get fired. I haven't seen him that he actually been fired just yet.
Right.
So we'll see. If Ja Landon say Ja need to mature as a professional. That's the biggest thing.
That's the key.
That's the biggest thing with him is just he got to mature and really, grow up. And understand your position. You are a professional at this point.
And and I think we touched on it. We really kind of dove in on that mental illness thing, man. He could be suffering from that. I mean, some of the decisions that he's been making, man, has been kind of strange to me.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's just not, thinking logically. So I don't know if he's dealing with that or not. But
Landon said Nico gone.
He gone?
Landon said.
Which is weird, when you think about. They traded Luka, and I would have to think that the owners were heavily involved in that.
Yeah.
Luka, this GM is not going to trade Luka without, the blessing of the ownership and with them being heavily involved. And that's, what's his name down there? What's the guy that owned them, the Dallas Mavericks? That owner. I don't know why I can't think of his name.
I don't know, because what's his name sold the team?
Oh, he sold them?
Mark Cuban.
Cuban.
Yeah, Cuban sold them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Cuban. Or if he didn't sell, he sold he not the majority owner no more.
Wow.
If he still got something to do with the team, but I know he's not as active as he was once upon a time.
Right.
Because he was on my damn nerves on the sideline. Like he might well have been the damn coach.
Yeah, Cuban.
Yeah. Well, about that time.
Yes, it is.
Ravens win this week, so it's always good when the Ravens get a dub. We'll be back at it next week after the Cleveland game. I'm not going to make any predictions. It is Cleveland. The Ravens have to travel to Cleveland this week, so I don't know what you do in Cleveland. You know, go. I mean, is Cleveland known for any kind of food? Like they got a staple there in Cleveland that people talk about.
No, not that I know of.
You know, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You go visit the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I guess.
Right.
You know, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. Let's come back with a win. That's all I got to say. You know, when y'all come back Sunday, come back with a dub, and we 5-5 going into Thanksgiving week. 2 home games back to back after they come from Cleveland. You got the Jets coming in town, and then you got Cincinnati coming in on Thanksgiving night. So, you know, all winnable games here. You know, the tenor of the conversation in the last 3 weeks has changed dramatically. And let's keep that trend going. You know, let's keep that trend going. Let's keep that train going. Let's keep them wins coming. Let's continue to get healthy. You know, continue the young guys are continue to stepping up and starting to make plays. I think, like you said, the young offensive tackle who's been fighting injuries, I think he's getting closer to coming back. Which could mean, you know, Filet-O-Fish could be, you know, over there on the bench.
Right.
Where he belongs. You know, he's definitely a liability on the line. So that's what we're looking for. You know, we're looking in these next couple of weeks to continue getting healthy, continue stacking wins. And the AFC North has been put on notice. You know, they know Lamar Jackson is back. The Ravens are doing what they do. You know, they make the playoffs more than they don't. So there's that.
Yeah.
Any parting words before we just roll out for the night?
I mean, just enjoy that journey with the Ravens, man. I mean, you know, it's a long season. It's a 17-game season, and I mean, what a guy like Lamar 1-5 is not a death sentence, and he's proven that. Maybe this is the way that it has to be. I mean, when the Ravens won the Super Bowl in 2012, they weren't really playing that well. You know, they were, I think they were a wild card team, and you know, they was playing on the road. They had to go to Denver and all that stuff. I mean, so maybe this is the way. And hopefully the Ravens can, you know, slip into those playoffs, and then it's a brand new season. So you know, I'm riding with number 8 all the way, no matter what. So that's where my thoughts are.
Yeah. Well, I got nothing else. I got nothing else. You know, this is it. This is all I got from you know what I'm saying? That's all I got, man. I'm just looking for the new. Wait a minute.
Lenny got any parting words? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, before you go. He wants you to just tell the people about Oscar Robertson's rookie year before you go.
You know, the big O, as they call him, was you know, when I used to be ranting and raving about Michael Jordan in his career, you know, my father used to throw Oscar Robertson at me. And the big O, man, 6'5", strong. You know, he did this and that. He did this and that. So, you know, Oscar Robertson, who, by the way, a lot of people didn't know, was married to Florida Evans on Good Times back in the day. What's her name? Real name? Esther Roll. Oscar Robertson and Esther Roll were married back in the day. A lot of people didn't know that. But yeah, the big O. I didn't catch his rookie season. I think that was before I was even on the map. But when you go back to that era, the big three from that era is Oscar Robertson, Wilt Chamberlain, and Bill Russell. That's the big three from that era. So so Oscar is definitely one of the all-time greats, and that triple-double thing was phenomenal to see him average that. Yeah, and I did get a chance to see him play when not personally, but when he played for the Milwaukee Bucks, the championship, along with Lou Alcindor and Oscar Robertson and some of them boys. So I knew Kareem when he was Lou Alcindor.
He said, "Were you at the wedding?"
Damn.
Oh man. Well, we're gonna do this again next week.
Woo!
We're gonna do this again next week, man.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Ravens in Cleveland this week. College basketball jumping off, NBA off to the races. You know, we be talking a little more sports, throwing a little more. I need the NBA to get heated up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Before I start talking.
Yeah.
You know, but I've seen some things that I'm impressed with. This kid Wemby.
Wemby, man.
Before we go.
Whew.
This kid Wemby, man. You know, to be 7'5", 6', 7", whatever he is, and to be as skilled as he is, and to be as coordinated as he is, that's scary.
It's scary.
It's scary, man, how good he can be. You know, it is scary how good that kid can be, and we definitely gonna spend some time. My brother's always a pleasure, man. Always, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna definitely spend some time talking about this young fella's game and really the future of this game. You know, with him can kind of stepping into the front.
Oh yeah.
In the forefront, you know, of you know, taking the torch. You know, sometimes, man, they try to anoint players as the torch bearer. You know, who's the guy? And sometimes you just gotta allow guys to become who they're going to become.
Yeah, let them anoint themselves.
You know, exactly.
MJ anointed himself.
And we still struggling with that.
He anointed himself.
Yeah, he said, Landon said, Wemby going to change the game like Steph.
Yeah, he doing it, man. It is unreal what I've been seeing from him.
Yeah, unbelievable. So appreciate y'all tuning in.
Sir.
You know, Greg, get up out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. It's the holiday season is upcoming. You know,
right.
So I know people, man, get ready to get into the Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of the holiday festivities, New Year's and all these things.
Right.
So, you know, just if I could say anything, man, just enjoy your families. You know, enjoy your family, enjoy your time with your families. You know, don't get too caught up in, you know, the gifts and all the things, all of the commercial things about these holidays, man. Just enjoy your family. You know, spend time with your family and your loved ones, man, and create and make new memories, you know, because, you know, tomorrow is promised to none of us. So, you know, live in the present, man. Enjoy the present. The gift is the present.
And I know it's tough, you know, to enjoy it with some family members.
That's facts. that is facts.
But you use your discretion.
Your discretion, yeah. You know who to hide the liquor cabinet from.
Exactly.
You know, and the Tupperware.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, but we out of here, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we'll do it again next week. Thank y'all. Peace and blessings to all who tuned in, man. We had quite a few people joining us tonight.
Another sports book, another sports mix in the books.
Indeed. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Peace.